I'm breaking down the 5 vegetables every senior should eat, and the 5 you might need to stop eating immediately to protect your health, mobility, and independence. Broccoli, the natural armor against aging. I used to overlook broccoli. It always sat quietly on the edge of the plate. Never glamorous, never the star. But now, I see it as one of the most powerful tools I have to protect my aging body. Broccoli is packed with something called sulforaphane, a phytochemical that's like a personal bodyguard for your cells. Sulforaphane helps reduce chronic inflammation, and that's a big deal because inflammation is one of the root causes of joint pain, cognitive decline, and muscle loss in older adults. When I started including a cup of lightly steamed broccoli daily, I noticed something: less stiffness in my knees, steadier steps, and even clearer thinking. It also helps keep bones strong, thanks to high levels of calcium and vitamin K, nutrients that become especially crucial as our bones get more brittle. And let me tell you, a broken hip at 70 doesn't just slow you down, it can change everything. So now, broccoli's always got a spot on my plate, steamed just enough to stay vibrant and full of life. Spinach, the brain and muscle booster. Spinach is another quiet hero I've come to rely on. It's rich in natural nitrates, which I once thought were bad, but the truth is, in vegetables like spinach, they actually help widen your blood vessels and improve circulation. That's huge for people like me in their senior years. Better circulation means better oxygen and nutrient delivery to the muscles and brain. And when that happens, you walk stronger, you think sharper, and you even sleep better. I used to feel a little foggy in the afternoons. Now I blend spinach into smoothies or toss it into a sauté, and I feel more alert. It's also full of lutein and folate, nutrients that directly nourish your brain and eyes. So it's not just about avoiding disease, it's about keeping the sparkle in your gaze, the sharpness in your thoughts, and the strength in your stride. It's not flashy, but trust me, it works. Carrots, vision, balance, and stability in one crunch. I can't say enough good things about carrots. They've always been in my kitchen, but I never knew how powerful they really were until I learned about beta-carotene. That's the bright orange pigment that turns into vitamin A in your body, and vitamin A is essential for keeping your eyes healthy. After 65, our eyesight naturally starts to fade. I've seen it happen around me, friends giving up driving or struggling to read a menu. But regular intake of carrots can actually slow down age-related macular degeneration. And if you've ever tripped on a curb because you didn't see it, you know how important clear vision is. But carrots don't stop at eyesight. Their antioxidants support balance and coordination by keeping the nervous system healthy. So those small stumbles or feelings of unsteadiness, carrots help with that too. I eat them raw whenever I can, sliced into sticks, tossed in salads, or even blended into a fresh juice. Every bite feels like a quiet investment in my freedom. Sweet potatoes, the better root for your blood, sugar, and heart. Now, here's a root vegetable I turned to after giving up something I loved: white potatoes. Sweet potatoes are not just sweeter in taste, they're sweeter to your body. They're lower on the glycemic index, which means they don't spike your blood sugar the way white potatoes do. For seniors like me who are watching their blood pressure, cholesterol, and risk of diabetes, this is a big deal. Sweet potatoes are also full of fiber and antioxidants like beta-carotene. That means you're supporting your eyes, your heart, and your digestion all at once. I roast them, mash them, or cube them into soups. They've become my comfort food upgrade. And the best part? No sugar crashes, no foggy brain, just steady energy that lasts me through the day. Kale, the undercover strength builder. I'll admit I didn't love kale at first, but once I got used to it, especially when massaged into salads or sautéed with olive oil, it became a staple. Kale is one of the most nutrient-dense vegetables out there. It's high in vitamin K, calcium, and magnesium, all of which are essential for keeping bones strong and muscles functional. I've also read studies showing kale helps lower inflammation in the body, especially in the joints and blood vessels. What surprised me most is that it's rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, compounds that protect your vision much like spinach. So if I want strong legs, sharp eyes, and flexible joints well into my 70s and beyond, kale's got my back. But just as some vegetables can be your best allies, others, though they look innocent, might be quietly working against your strength, balance, and long-term health. Eggplant, beautiful but potentially harmful. Eggplant looks healthy, it's colorful, low in calories, and often shows up in heart-healthy recipes. But I've learned to keep it off my plate, and here's why. Eggplant contains a compound called solanine. And while it's not toxic in small amounts, it can trigger inflammation in people who are sensitive, especially older adults. After 65, many of us are already battling arthritis or stiffness, and solanine can make it worse. I noticed more joint discomfort on the days I ate eggplant, and when I stopped, things got better. Coincidence? Maybe. But I wasn't willing to take that risk. Even grilling or roasting doesn't remove the problem compound. So for me, eggplant is one of those not worth it foods. I choose other vegetables that support my mobility instead of quietly sabotaging it. Absolutely. Here are 5 additional lines that naturally extend that section in the same conversational tone. It's not that I don't miss it. Eggplant parmesan used to be one of my favorites, but I had to ask myself, is the flavor worth the flare-ups in my knees and ankles? Over time, I realized the stiffness I felt wasn't just aging, it was something I was eating. That's the tricky part. Some of these effects are so gradual we don't link them to our meals. Now I listen more closely to what my body's trying to tell me after every plate. Green bell peppers, a crunchy source of chronic inflammation. This one was a surprise. Green bell peppers were always a go-to for me. Fresh, crunchy, and colorful. But beneath their bright surface, they hide lectins, proteins that can irritate the gut lining and disrupt nutrient absorption. If you're like me and have digestive issues or joint pain, lectins can make things worse. I started noticing more stiffness and fatigue on the days I had them. That led me to read up on their effects, and sure enough, for older adults, they can spark low-grade inflammation that creeps up over time. Red, orange, and yellow peppers are a better choice. They have fewer lectins and more antioxidants. So I made the switch, and honestly, my meals are more colorful and my joints feel calmer. White potatoes, comfort that comes at a cost. Now this one hurt a little. White potatoes, mashed, baked, fried. Potatoes have always meant home to me. They remind me of family dinners, warm kitchens, and comfort. But they here also come with a steep price when you look at what they do inside an aging body. White potatoes are packed with simple carbohydrates that spike your blood sugar right after eating. That quick rush feels satisfying in the moment, but it sets off inflammation that slowly damages the tiny blood vessels in your legs and feet. And the worst part, over time, this damage accumulates, weakening circulation, delaying healing, and eroding the very strength we need to stay mobile. I've read how this kind of inflammation leads to arteriosclerosis, the hardening of arteries, which causes cold feet, cramps, numbness, and a much higher risk of falls. And let's not forget how most of us eat our potatoes, with butter, cream, and salt, which only stacks more risk on top. I used to think a baked potato was harmless, even wholesome, especially next to a piece of grilled fish or roasted chicken. But I started noticing how sluggish I felt afterward, like my energy tanked instead of rising. That got me curious, so I began swapping them out just a few nights a week. And wouldn't you know it? The bloating eased, my feet stopped cramping as often, and I didn't feel as heavy in my legs when climbing stairs. It's strange how something so familiar can quietly drag you down, until one day you finally pay attention. Corn, the sweet saboteur of blood sugar and digestion. I used to think corn on the cob was the perfect side dish, especially in summer, but I've learned that corn is mostly starch and sugar, with very little fiber or nutrient value for older adults. For someone trying to manage blood sugar, corn can behave a lot like white bread. It gives you a fast energy burst, followed by a crash. That crash can leave you tired, moody, and even dizzy, especially if you're on medications that regulate glucose. It's also hard to digest, especially for those of us with slower systems. So while it might look harmless, corn can silently stress your metabolism and sap your energy. These days, I choose non-starchy veggies instead, and I don't miss the crash one bit. When I started paying closer attention to the vegetables on my plate, I didn't expect it to have such a dramatic effect, but it did. My steps feel stronger, my mind feels clearer, and I worry less about falling or forgetting things. These aren't huge changes. They're small, daily decisions that add up, bite by bite. I've learned that eating for health after 65 isn't about eating less, it's about eating smarter. Knowing which vegetables help your body thrive and which ones quietly chip away at your strength can make all the difference. I don't follow fads. I follow what helps me feel good, move well, and stay connected to the life I want to live. You don't need to overhaul your diet overnight. Start with one switch, one meal, one choice, and just see how your body thanks you. If this video gave you something to think about, leave a 1 in the comments and let me know which veggie you're switching up first. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss a health tip designed just for you. Thanks for watching, and here's to strong legs, sharp minds, and joyful years ahead.